Welcome back, Sacred Seekers. I am so looking forward to this conversation today. I am speaking to Ariana Brackenbury, and our interview has come together through a shared sacred devotion to the Rose Path. Ariana is a heart-centered mentor, a pilgrimage facilitator, and a guide whose work is dedicated to helping others listen to the quiet wisdom of their own hearts and step more fully into what is calling them. Her focus is on supporting people, particularly in the later seasons of life, as they release limiting beliefs, reconnect with their inner truth, and move forward in a more meaningful and authentic way of living. Ariana, I am so glad to have you here and with us today. Welcome.
Oh, Julia, I'm just I had to get up early to get prepared, but I'm excited about the conversation. Pilgrimage has always been such a deep part of my spiritual growth.
Thank you for getting up early. I know sometimes it's a little bit hard time zone wise, but I'm really glad that you made it. And I want to, like we chatted a little bit before, and sometimes it's almost like there is so much wisdom in the pre-conversation that I want to hit record right away. But I would love to hear from you. Why do you feel that so many women, and actually, I do want to also explicitly mention women in the later stages of life, feel the Magdalene current awakening?
I think for me, and I'm noticing my throat chakra is kind of getting a little crunchy, but for me, it's we are the sage. We are the ones that are holding that energy, as Magdalene is the birth doula of the new humanity. To me, that's what I sense her role is. So I think that for me at 75, I've reached that age of the sage and the we would call it the crone in the old names before they made crone be such a negative word. But I think it's really, I'm calling in the wisdom keepers. It's like those of us who came to hold the energy for this time on the planet that are here in remembrance of the ancient priestesses, the ancient wisdom of the feminine. And we're here to hold that. I feel like it's important that we hold that energy right now as well as the divine masculine that's waking up. So we have this beautiful integration that I'm feeling from Mary Magdalene of calling in the ability of the masculine and feminine to coexist in harmony. And so for me, the reason I it's not the only thing that I support, certainly different ages, but I think for generally speaking, probably what I would say 50 and over are more attracted to the Magdalene pilgrimages, but more and more young people are showing up. So I have a 25-year-old coming on this France pilgrimage in May, so which is really lovely. I think there's a lovely thing to notice that younger people are also connecting more deeply.
Love that. And, it's really like I agree to what you're saying. It's more that living current that resides within our bodies that also resides within the land rather than, being a historical figure, which of course Mary Magdalene's or the Magdalenes were, but it's like how can we connect to what they embodied? And I'd be curious. I said it to you before, I haven't come across anybody who was leading such a length of a pilgrimage through France. And it's so beautiful because you're doing literally so many. I'm not going to say all the sites because there are so many, but a lot of the sites. So what are people seeking out on this journey, and what's the transformation that you see in them over the course of these 20 days?
Well, I think each person comes with an individual story, an individual draw to something. It's it's actually unexplainable. It's one of those things that pops in, and then once it pops in, it's like, okay, that's not going away. I need to. You might put it aside for a little while, but then at some point, there's a call. Whether you come on a guided pilgrimage or whether you just create one for yourself, I think there's right now on the planet. I think people are looking for answers at some level. They're looking for what's next for them. They're looking for the deeper connection back to the Essene energy, if it's a Magdalene pilgrimage. I think, generally speaking, I would find that there's a place of reconnection to the past with pilgrimage, but it's a place of reconnection to the heart, to really tune into why that call came in. Like there's always a draw. No one comes on a 20-day pilgrimage unless there's a part of their soul that's saying there's something here for you. Like I think that's the main thing. And I've done the Camino de Santiago, which is like 6 weeks and 800 roughly kilometers, which is a similar call, but a different call. One is the very internal journey where there's not a lot of distraction, ideally people walking alone. But the Magdalene energy going through the cathedrals and going through the sacred places that her path was in certainly in the south of France, but also very much in the north, is that reconnection back, I think, many times to a past lifetime.
I could definitely attest to that. I had a major moment, in Vézelay, and it's a place that is not so well known, but I also know that it's on the journey that you are doing. What do we do when we have these moments of remembrance? Like, how do we bring them into the lives that we are living in the here and now? How can they serve us?
I think it's again in whatever that individual call is, but I think the reminder for me is when people think they've left the pilgrimage, they haven't. It's the way that people set an intention that allows the depth of that pilgrimage to come in. And so I think the best way for people to bring forward is to create a little, and we call it like, even if it's a 15 minutes in the day to sit with what has happened. I think there's a lot of times on the planet we're in a hurry for something. And we're in a hurry for, okay, now I know, or now I have done this thing and I should be perfect now. I should be all aligned. And it doesn't usually happen that way. It's sort of like, I think it's sometimes it can be 6 months later, all of a sudden there's this aha moment where it's just like that it sinks into the soul, to the cellular memory. And so I think for me, it's the reminder of people to continue practices when they get home, like to set some sacred space for themselves. And that brings it in. I had a lady in Montserrat who was, let's just say, there's some words, look, not everybody that comes on a pilgrimage is in the happy place, let's just say. So this woman was sort of,
Yeah.
the sense I got was she had expected something else and it wasn't coming through how I had perceived. But she came down from Montségur and she got a vision of going to the fire. The next day, this was a different person. Like, not
Oh,
all
wow.
people on the pilgrimage, but the next day, the whole group said, "What did I won't use a name, but what happened?" Because it was so dramatic. It was like everything was good. There was no, there's something wrong. It should be done this. There was none of that. It was just this instant awareness. So that doesn't happen. I think the big thing for people is to let go of some sense that there's going to be this moment of great clarity. And
Mhm.
I think I found that I did a trip to Egypt and I had all these expectations and
Oh, yes.
like had like I'm going to find out that I was a priestess going to my death with a pharaoh, and it's like no, I didn't get that. But the next week we went to a pilgrimage in a safari in Tanzania, and at the top of the Ngorongoro crater, I have like waves of love coming at me, like just
Mm.
I wanted to just take every bit of clothing off and turn and have it like the wind was
Oh,
just coming
wow.
in with this energy of love. So we can't, I think the thing about it is to let go of what you think it should look like. In all my times in France, the most pivotal was in Béziers in one particular place. And I walked in and I started to cry. Like, so I think there's moments when I go back to that particular spot, it's different. It doesn't like that particular cathedral, but it's very clear to me I was there. It's very clear to me that it
Mhm.
was part of my past life journeys. So I think in generally, I think I'm rambling a little bit off the question, but that's what seems to be complete at the moment.
No, I think it's, for anybody who has been, I guess there's certainly moments that we can totally relate. And for others who have not, there might be a spark of inspiration. I am curious, you've done pilgrimages for such a long time, like either for yourself or also guiding other people. What do you find that like really coming into your sage years, I love the word by the way, what is different like for you personally and what are maybe some luxuries or amenities that you appreciate more than before?
I I have fresh flowers on my desk almost all the time now. Like I have right now, yeah, this bouquet of flowers, and it's like a little luxury to me, like to have that. But it's like for me, that's kind of the one thing that I think I've shifted to. I think in general, I've reached a space from all these pilgrimage of being very much an observer of life, of letting go of judgment, of witnessing everyone in their messiness or in their glory. Well, either
Mm,
one, which we all have parts of. And I think there's this sense that's shifted in me of letting go of needing to change anyone, of letting go of needing to do anything but hold the line, to hold the line for that's the biggest thing I find currently on the planet is the ability just to hold the line. I think I did a talk at Unity where that night, the before the talk, that word came in, and it was like Mary Magdalene held the line watching the crucifixion.
mm,
The chaos was all around, and yet she was able to focus 100% in what part of the energy she was holding for that. So, I think for now, the difference for me is I've let go of a lot of fixing,
yeah.
needing to fix something, wanting to fix something. Instead, I'm just in the peaceful place, I think, that emanates. So people forget, I think, a lot of the time that the inner journey is the one that's the most important and the one that's holding the planetary structure right now. So it's us being strong in what we're holding for humanity. But for me, that's a big thing for me. I'm holding the energy of what I want to create on planet Earth or the humanity that I want to see, separate from all the craziness that's going on almost everywhere on the planet. I think we need people who can just be holding that. Like, I think that's one of the most important things for me in my life is just to try as much as possible to be in peace and love and holding love for this world.
And I want to say that personally, I feel the Magdalene current and, that the rose reality is what really helps to refine our perception and to, like, I call it kind of like becoming the architect of the energetic reality in a way. And
Mm.
I yeah, it's just something that I haven't, seen in learning various energy healing modalities or something like that. I feel it's really like that underlying frequency of the rose line that we are, as you say, like holding the field with that by plugging or replugging into that, remembering it.
Yeah, I think there's also the dragon energy that's emerging more strongly right
Mhm.
now. I think there's a
Mhm.
lot of I'm trying to I have a new book to explore with my group. It's called Guardians of the Dragon
Oh,
Light.
I love it by Annie Williams.
Yeah, and so and also in Scotland, as we're moving into the Scotland pilgrimage, the dragon energy I'm got goosebumps. Like, it's so okay. It's like there's goosebumps coming in because as a young girl, I read stories of dragons. Like, I read the Dragon Riders of Perm, and I was like, as a 14-year-old, immersed in this different world. But I think we're coming back to the magic of the land, the magic as you did when you brought us into this call, the connection into the elementals, the connection into the fairyland and the earth and all these things that are sitting there opening up, I think, more and more as the it's like almost like the evolution of Gaia herself is happening right now, and all the sunspots and all the different energies that people are those people that are empaths, I have a great deal of compassion for, um, navigating the energy. I'm actually a placeholder. I'm like a edge piece of a puzzle. Like, that's my role, and I think for everyone, it's also coming back to what's the wisdom. I think the wisdom often is the alignment inside of ourselves to accept that we're built exactly how we're supposed to be built and that our energies, because I'm a computer programmer, there was a lot of judgment in me, not be not being feminine too much, and I think it was the book Mary Magdalene Beckons that brought me to the integration of all aspects of myself, to love those aspects, because it's so important that we're not the same. It's so important that we hold what our gifts are. And I think I'm laughing a little bit because then once I got that, I got, well, programming is feminine. It's all creation. It's all design. It's
Oh,
all
creation.
my mind was judging what I was instead of kind of really realizing how powerfully creative it was. So it, people, I think, on the pilgrimage can come into alignment of their gifts. And maybe I think it's, again, letting go of an expectation to come cleanly into a pilgrimage with an open mind and an open heart, asking for exactly what you want to have shifting in your life, being very clear with that. So, yeah, I think it's, the dragons particularly that sort of set this off is such a magical thing that I think, Scotland is going to bring out more, but I don't know what's happening in France, but I have a feeling I wanna follow the dragon path down from the Rose Line coming down from Paris.
There is something I want to share with you that has genuinely become part of how I care for my body and my energy over time. As we move through life, the body asks for a different kind of attention and not force, not pressure, but real nourishment, support, and a deeper listening to go back to the blueprint of who we are. And I've been working with the natural frequency creations of Levy Lights for some years now. And what I can say is this. It's not just about physical well being, it's about supporting the body on a true cellular level in a way that feels gentle yet deeply, deeply effective. I notice how my system regenerates and how my energy sustains throughout the day, how my body just feels more supported rather than depleted. I feel there is a quiet elegance in aging when the body is nourished and remembers its original state of health, as that sense of staying connected to our own life force in our own rhythm. And this has become that part of me. So if you're at a stage in your life where you value longevity, regeneration, and feeling good in your body, I invite you to explore this for yourself. Not from a place of fixing anything, but really from a place of supporting your body to age with strength, clarity, and a certain kind of grace. You can click the link below to learn more about it. So, I mean, if at all we can use the word comparison, which I don't like that much, but if you like tune in to the earth field and the energies that are held in France and then in Scotland, what would you say is like at the heart of the alchemy that people are going to experience in these two different pathways?
Whoa, I think France is imbued with Mary Magdalene at the deepest level, like uh, she's in the heart and soul of France. As same as Joan of Arc, like, you'll see
Yeah.
Joan of Arc actually showing up almost everywhere that Mary Magdalene shows up, which is also a feminine that had the courage to step forward into what was calling in an unimaginable way. Like, and so for me, the energy of France is different. It's more of, the cathedrals, the energy of the land itself, but the more emphasis is in the spaces where she's been revered and many times. when we moved to Scotland, like now we're in a big switch. So now it's entering into the land of the divas, the fairies, the dragons,
Mm.
the elementals, mostly in outside as opposed to coming into a lot of things inside in France. So there's that shift. Energetically, I think it's what the land is calling us to right now. Like the deeper, there's a healing happening in the land as people become more connected to getting their feet on the ground and toes in the grass and as much as possible. Not so much here in Calgary in the wintertime, but I think that's a major difference between these two is looking at it's a different layer of energy. Whereas in France, there's this more of a sacredness of her journey, specifically because there's a focus on Magdalene and why she came on the planet. Also, normally a reconnection to perhaps a life as the Essenes or as a Cathar, one of those things that shows up more in France. Where when we moved to Scotland, it's a completely different resonance. It's a completely different intention that we have to connect into those energies of the ley lines, the dragon lines. So it's like two worlds side by side. We're doing both this year, and both are unique in their own way and both will call people. And there are people that have gone to France and now want to come back to come to
Mhm.
Scotland as well. And other like Turkey or different places are kind of on my list to explore.
Is there a personal spot that you look very much forward to going?
In Scotland, well, in France, it's actually Montserrat because I had never gone to Montserrat and I always had this perception that I couldn't fit it in. And then I found out we could actually be there in 3 hours from where we were starting. It was like this, oh my God, excitement of somewhere that I've wanted to go for a long, long time. And so I'm like, I get to have most of the time I've done 7 Mary Magdalene. So it's like, it's pretty much following the same path. So it's not so much exciting from the perspective of I'm a Sagittarius who likes new things. And so going to Montserrat, actually, I've snuck in a couple more places in France that I've never been. So I think, yeah, I think Montserrat is the one that's really calling to my heart.
I'm a Sagittarius
And
sun too,
Vézelay.
so I oh, and Visley.
Okay, there you go. Well, Vézelay and Montserrat, and actually at the beginning and the end, like sort of placeholders almost. Not exactly at the start or the end, but for Vézelay, we're staying overnight this year, which we've never done before. And there's a huge Mary Magdalene school there. Like it's probably the one place that is like totally Magdalene in terms of, there's only one focus. Like and Vézelay, we have the Black Madonna that's threading through the whole pilgrimage as well, like that energy of the deep womb energy of the feminine. So yeah, in answer to the question, Montserrat, 100%.
And it doesn't surprise me, because to me personally, I feel Montserrat has also this like huge. It's a huge dragon place for me. Like I don't know, this whole mountain for me is like a sleeping dragon.
Well, I think the Rose line comes down pretty close to Montserrat. Like I think it sort of comes down from Paris Street down the line. So there's that dragon line that's showing up from Annie Williams' book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've had people come in to the pilgrimage, some people that are very dragon energy, like they're just like they see dragons everywhere. And there's some, I think the energy of some people that are able to see, like say there's some that have the capacity to see angels around other people, to see auric fields. The dragon energy is one that comes in a lot to those people who are able to perceive either fairies. Like I was actually on a beautiful trip in Nebius Forest, the labyrinth of
Mm.
Nebius in
Hmm.
France, and beautiful Bart from the Sacred Sites of Mary Magdalene was there when we showed up
Oh
and did fairy
wow.
readings for everybody in the group. So those are the unexpected things that show up on the trip. It's like things that aren't planned sometimes are the most powerful things for people. I think that's the interesting piece. Or there's a castle we go to in France, Perret-Pertus. I probably butchering the name, where there's a Mary Magdalene altar and there's actually a space in there for Mary Magdalene energy. And that can also be one of the most powerful places for people to, it's, I don't say too much about it. I try not to install any kind
Yes.
of like maybe as much as as much as possible, but I'm looking forward to whatever happens there. And, I think it's unexplainable where people get touched deeply. I think each of us has our own soul journey. We've been on so many different lifetimes, but I also feel like there's the people who do end up coming on my pilgrimage already know, like they're all like, they have to find me. Like I don't have to find them. Like it's just an energy that will allow them to connect into something that's next for them.
Hmm. Hmm. You were speaking about, the different experiences of different people, and I'm curious how, what's your perception on the constellation of every pilgrimage that is forming and coming together? Like even, entering a space, a place in a certain constellation and just like watching the energy that unfolds as people walk.
It's and whether we're walking or taking our coach, every pilgrimage is different. The energy of everybody showing up actually is fascinating because last year we had everybody on book studies and they were all knowing each other before they came. And this year it's totally different. And so it's like each one has its own. I would say that every pilgrimage brings together souls that are usually past life connections that is really hard for me to predict before we get there. Like it's not until we get there. And it's like none of them are the same. Like literally none of them are the same. And there's a magic to that for me because as I'm doing, I'm the route that I follow in France is reasonably structured the same way, but not always. In fact, I've changed it up quite a bit this year just to like shift some different things. But I'm drawn to move to shift the direction each time. Like there's a different, like even though we go
Mhm.
to many of the same places, there might be a different sequence. There's certain places where we have massive introduction ceremonies and a Saint Marie de la Mer and the under the moon kind of thing. That's just a standard part of what we do. It's not the same every year. It always evolves depending on the people. Like I
Yeah.
think when we arrive, June, my partner in France, when we arrive, we're setting energy for this group as opposed to attachment to it being like last group, like, because it's not going to be the same. It will always be different. And so it's opening to that. And the same, Scotland is the first time I've done the Scotland pilgrimage. And it's, oh, I can tell you, I want to be there now. Like, it's just like, there's just, oh, Scotland. I want to be in Roslin Chapel. I want to be in Skye with the fairies. I want to be with the Callanish stones, the different places. They're drawing me because I haven't actually visited Scotland before. So it's a big calling. It's like all of a sudden, like, you want me to do what? It's like, and then it's like, oh my God, like I want to be there for 3 weeks and 4 weeks and 5 weeks because there's too many things I want to see there.
I can totally relate. So I'm very excited for you. Take us a bit like on the Scotland pilgrimage. What's the route that you're going to be taking? What are like the main sites?
Well, the main sites, well, we start in Edinburgh. I tried to eliminate too much of being inside, and so we have a day in Edinburgh where we actually visit Dean Village, which is a quiet community. So it's moving away from the busyness of the city. But then we head up to Stirling Castle. We go to Schiehallion, the mountain. We go to Fortingall, which is a place that in the Anna books there was gathering, dispersion of the field. Then we head over to Callanish. So we're crossing over to the different islands on ferries. So it's very water related, earth and water
Mhm.
related. Callanish stones, the sacred stones. So that is kind of the route. Then we head over and come down to the Sky area and visit the ferries, and then we head over to Mull and Iona, which is a very powerful
Beautiful.
Magdalene space. Coming back, we end up going to Kilmartin with old ancient energy, so there's more standing stones, and then ending at Roslyn. So that's sort of there's other, like, lots of little spaces in between there, but that's the core of where we're circling in a way. And then we have put in spaces where we actually have an integration day in the middle. Before we head to Sky, we're going to take the time to actually take a breath, not be traveling for a day, just be in the moment of integration. So there's that sort of built in, but it's also, we end up in the south, like moving south towards Kilmartin, after Kilmartin coming down and then heading to Roslyn. It's like all of it is really designed to be more internal. Although what's interesting, as I've set it out, I have a plan and all of a sudden there's little niggly things that say, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna go right by St. Conan's Kirk." And all of a sudden I'm seeing Facebook saying, "This is a place that you need to be." And so I'm like, it fits in. And so spirit is driving the boat a lot of times for what experiences we want to have. But definitely Scotland has so much to offer. I have a hard time of seeing the places that we can't get to in that length of time. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be so much magic unfolding in the places that you have foreseen, and maybe also the ones that you haven't foreseen, but you will end up going there.
It's
Redirection.
funny because we're going to a little village in called Luce. I'm probably saying it Lush, I think it is in Scottish. We went there as a kind of on a drop box to like a resting place. And then I see this video come up about how powerful it is in a Christianity sense. And wasn't on my mind. It was called The Pretty Village that we're going to do a quick stop in. And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, this isn't a quick stop. This is actually designed for a different kind of energy to come through. So that's the magical part. I think there's many others. The time on Iona, I think, will be very special. The time with the Calendar stones, like all of it is different and all of it's different energies coming in. So looking forward to this one.
How are you tracking your own energy level, but also the energy level of the group?
Right now, Scotland is building, but for France, I have an online community that I've created called the Path of the Rose, and that's where the group gathers. And so that is going to be my space for, like, we'll do a virtual pilgrimages that where we're going to share on that space that helps people that aren't able to go on the pilgrimage. Like, it
Mhm.
gives them a kind of a taste of it. So tracking, it's more the interactions on that space. I've moved away from WhatsApp over to just creating this community online where there's no social media, there's nothing there. It's like it is in some essence a place for gathering of like-minded souls where there's no tiptoeing. It's kind of like you're free to express yourself here without having to worry about somebody calling you nasty names. So I think that's where I'm holding the energy. It's a new thing that I've created, an online community. I was never on my mind to do something like that. And all of a sudden it's like spirit tap, tap, tap on me. And I was like, when I first decided to do it, I had no idea of why. Like, I think that's what we're seeing in our lives, that things are popping in that we don't have on the list. Like, I did not have on my list creating a private online community where people could, like, it was I'm like, wow. And even as I started, I had no idea of what it really was becoming, what had the potential to become. So we have little sacred pouches inside that community where there's a private energy for anybody coming on the pilgrimage that they can share that's separate from the rest of that community.
I love that. Yeah, it's very powerful. And, you know, specifically also because you are doing these longer journeys, I feel the preparation and the integration after is like essential, so people can also have
Yeah.
touch points and a guidance for, yeah, specifically like when they come back home, so they
Yeah, I
don't feel
think it's
lost.
more exactly. I think it's a place where people can actually rest and have like sort of we're gather once a month for 6 months, and so we'll have a sort of an ongoing kind of connection to each other. And usually I do find that however the groups are tracked, there's people that are staying together for many years following a pilgrimage. Like it's coming home. Not everyone on the like not everyone that will go. Like say for example, in 1 year, there might be some that just disappear right after. And then there's a core of people that are so connected to their hearts that they'll be friends forever. But it depends on the person. It depends on where they are in their life. Nothing good, not bad, not without any judgment of everybody's journey. It's just like it shows up in the deep connections that people have.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually also drawn, and it feels like we skipped that. We skipped over that, but I want to circle back because I feel drawn to ask you really about your own path and kind of like that breakdown moment as a breakthrough that set you off in the first in the first place, because I feel right now, I mean, honestly, including myself, there is so much like reinvention of people, and yeah, just like breaking through these false illusions, identities that also come with grief, with loss, whether this is like very physical, very tangible, or more on a shamanic level. But what brought you to that moment in a complete like breakdown where your life was literally falling apart to have the courage to like pick yourself up again and walk the Camino?
Oh boy, that's a interesting story. So it all began with the death of my husband. It was like a pivotal point in my
Oh.
life where I had watched him go through 4 months of, let's call it hell on earth, like
Okay.
surgeries, 8 operations, different things where it was supposed to be a weekend and it was 4 months later that he finally passed. But that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. But from that point, we had a beautiful home. I had a prize winning garden. It was a big part of my life. And I was in this house that I should have sold right away. Like I should have just moved on because I only had one income coming in, and I just was ignoring that because I wanted to be in that space. We had created that when we got married. So there was a progression through that. And then there was a time when I actually, like this is a few years later, lost was involved in a computer programming progress for Kyoto. I was developing software to help the planet Earth. I thought I was going to be rich. And in fact, we went under and most of my savings disappeared. So that was the beginning of me letting go of the house. Like the house was more than I could afford. So by my 60th birthday, I had to sell the house and I ended up without a plan. Like I just needed to get through that place of holding. It was almost a year for the house to sell. And I came out of that with no sense of what was next for me. Like I literally got in the car with my dog and said, I don't have a plan. I just needed to get to that one space. And so I ended up at my stepson's vineyard. He took the dog. So anybody that's worried about what happened to the dog, um, a homeless lady in her Volvo with a dog, right? So, but I still didn't have a plan. And so he had a vineyard and I was working, trimming vines and on my knees and it's a very Zen thing to be in a vineyard
Mhm.
with rows and rows where there's only one thing you're doing. It's actually like meditating, connected on the knees to Mother Earth at the same time. But I have also been in a car accident. It was a
Wow.
very tumultuous year. So I was at a physiotherapist and she said, have you ever thought about walking the Camino de Santiago? And it was like this energy, like it was done. Okay, that's what I'm doing next. I was like, I will make these big decisions. Sagittarius energy will just jump into those adventures. And I knew I was going to do a 100-day journey. I already had booked something in Ireland the year before. And so I got, okay, I'm going to do Ireland, Spain, and Bali. I'm going to do Drink, Pray, Love, and I'm going to have this grand 100-day adventure. And that was like the big pivotal point in my life. Like I just could, like to have 100 days of just after having all the stress of losing all the savings and all the losing aspects of self, right? That was
Mhm.
associated. I had a home where people gathered for meetings and sacred things. It was letting go. It was a huge letting go of who I thought I was. Came back from that. I looked like 10 years younger. I just had this amazing transformation. I came home and still was homeless and put a note on Facebook that I would like a place to house sit. And all of a sudden I'm in a $3 million mansion for a year. Like boom. Like it was just this shifting. So in terms of the shifting that's happened for me is when Vern died, he opened up the gate to my spiritual journey, which hadn't really existed prior to that. And I couldn't I couldn't avoid. Like all the teachers came towards me and things. So I have reinvented myself multiple times. I think it's like one of the characteristics I have is resilience. And so I'm never down for the 10 count. Like I'm never down for the 10 count. It might be like a 4-week 10 count, but I'm never down for the count. And so the story of switch, so I did the Camino de Santiago a couple of times, and then I realized I could take people on that journey. So that was kind
Mm.
of the shifting. I still had a little bit of computer work to still support me, but I began to sense I want to help other people to experience this. There just became this call to open that gate. And then, so I did Camino pilgrimages till 2017. And then there was what I call the pilgrimage from hell, where I had 7 women. And it was, let's just leave it at, it was a huge, huge clearing pilgrimage for me in terms of, I thought it was going to be magical 40 days and then 800 kilometers I'll walk and then I'll look after 7 women for the rest of the time. And then I'll go to bed and do it over again. It's like having, if I had really read that job description ahead of time, I would have said, "Dot on your line. I will." It just was so exciting to me to have 7 women, and then all of a sudden they're like, "No, this is a lesson for you in this pilgrimage, a
Oh,
big
okay.
lesson." And it was overextending, trying to do like not really analyzing how can I hold energy for 40 days with walking every day and then looking after everyone and then getting up with
Yeah.
no break. So that was the shifting point when I switched, came back on the plane. I walked into the plane like pretty broken, I would say, pretty broken by that particular journey. And in the front seat is my friend June, who says, "I'm having a party tomorrow for Halloween. Would we want you to be there?" And I'm like, in my, that feeling when somebody's offering you something and there's a part of your brain that's saying, no, no way do I ever want to go to something that tomorrow. So we end up getting to the baggage and she says, "I have something important to talk to you about." So at that moment, I'm like, okay, I'm going to this Halloween party, which I do not go to. I get there and she said, "I have a download that you're supposed to do Mary Mag." Like she's sitting there actually, you can feel the energy coming through. Oh, it was the Magdalene energy that wanted to come through. That there was a reason for that other pilgrimage. There was stuff I needed to clear in my own way of being. It was like in hindsight, 5 years later, I could see what the
Mhm.
gifts were. In the
Mm.
moment, I think everyone that has those experiences, we don't always get the gifts immediately. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, that's what that was about." So I have this
Yeah.
great blessing for these 7 women. But I decided, she said, "Here's Kathleen McGowan's book. I really feel like you need to read these." And so I said, "Okay, I'll do that." I wasn't committing to doing Mary Magdalene. We're talking about 2018 when no one was
No
really doing
one.
pilgrimage to
Yeah.
Mary Mag. And so I read the books and said, "Okay, I'm gonna do that." Like, I am just that energy. I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." So that's what spirit, I think for me, it's not, people say you're very brave, but I'm not brave. I'm just adventurous. Like, I just have that spirit, right? So I do the first one. I've got 4 people. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Do you want to come have an adventure with me? And so they agreed to come. And of course, there's stuff, even with 4 people, there's stuff that shows up.
Yeah,
Right? It's amazing. It's
always.
amazing how that's even possible. And so that was the beginning of the Mary Magdalene. And I think that, coming out of that point where I lost most of my saving was devastating. I have to say, like, it was, I'm at that point, I'm almost 60. I'm thinking, like, what am I going to do next? And I put sort of my eggs in that basket, and then it's great. The basket gets emptied. Boom. Like, we get moved on in our life. I don't think there's many people that get to an age of in their 60s that haven't gone through a certain amount of opportunities for spirit. There's a word we use, another effing spirit, growth opportunity and AFGO. So it's like none of us are exempt. I don't think even the people that are very spiritual and very aligned will have this opportunity to shift energy ways. So I think that's my whole journey of being able to reinvent. Computer programming wasn't on my list ever. And then you know, I took a psychology degree, and I was a librarian, and I'm like, I moved to Calgary to get closer to my mother, and all of a sudden it's like I get a job in a computer store, and I'm like, it was horrible. That was like, I'm not the king anymore. I'm not the queen. I'm not the queen anymore. I know nothing. I've never been in sales. I moved from a library environment where everything is like very feminine into a masculine and sales, you know, and it was difficult. So finally he laid me off because I wasn't fit for that. And to do I started to just do teaching. And then all of a sudden I put a ad in the yellow pages that I knew how to program.
Hmm.
And I get a call from an oil and gas company. I had no idea. Like spirit, I think what happens is spirit will we think that we're doing something that we thought of, which is true at a level. But I put a I do paradox programming in this I'm dating myself, the yellow page ad. I had never done paradox programming. Why did I put that in there? I get a call from oil and gas in Medicine Hat, Calgary, or south of Calgary. And they say, "Oh, we'd like to come and talk to you about your programming." And all of a sudden it's like they liked I borrow a boardroom. I'm working out of my house. I borrow a boardroom and I meet with them downtown. I have a partner at that point who does database programming. They said, "We want you to do a quote for a production accounting package."
Mhm.
And I'm like a babe I have no idea what that means. And I have to give them up. I don't know how to program for the person. "We want you to develop this software to do this. And then give us a quote." And so I quoted them like $5,000, which is like petty cash for them. They didn't care whether I did it or not. I drove there thinking, I am so screwed here. They're going to find out I know nothing. I literally didn't know how to do paradox programming at that point. I would go there and I'm like, my stomach was churning. My stomach in all the other adventures never churned like it did there because I'm going to be caught. I'm going to be found out that I'm I'm misrepresenting it. So I would go back to the hotel and figure out how to get through the next day. And then it became my whole occupation. I was very good at it. So that's what's so interesting about the journeys. First of all, most people wouldn't have answered that call saying I'm too busy. But
Yeah.
I think what happens, Julia, is that there's something in our path that we often don't know about that drives us, whether it's Mary Magdalene or whether it's the path of the rose, is that they got the deal of a lifetime in a company because I didn't know about user things. I didn't know about licensing. We built this software. They used it for 10 years. I was just a natural at doing that, but I needed it's so funny when I think about it. I have a psychology degree. And so I think it's a message for any of your listeners that are maybe being drawn to something that seems not possible or seems weird and seems like
Mhm.
doesn't is to open to if you're getting a nudge over and over again about something, there's a reason that you're getting that nudge. My capacity to be able to go in the moment to the nudge is beyond most people. Like, it's different from most people. Now, tell me, I don't channel people. I don't do all the energy. Like, I have done lots of energy trainings, but that's not my path. And I think when we can just get clear on where we're supposed to be and let go of the doubt. Like, there is a time, that's a jumping off the cliff. The trip to that programming thing was jumping off a huge cliff. Like literally, when I look back, I think, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe I did that. So, but I had, like, from that point, probably 20 years of being in a different realm. And then I got moved again. So it's just like, okay, you're done here.
Yeah.
Now there's time for something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, but I think that's inherent in my own energy, that I'm able to recover. My brother said on my 75th birthday, he says, one of the aspects that I admire the most is your resiliency. You know, and I think I'm very. I'm not the only person that has a family that they're like the black sheep of, like,
Oh, wow.
or I call it the blue sheep. But I think there's a natural, when I think about how often people get put into families and they're the one that does a different route or takes the road less traveled. So I think we're built inherently to do those things or not to do those things.
Yeah.
Some of us are built to do that, and some of us are built to something else. And so my computer programming and doing the path of the roads, it's like, it's a database. It's, isn't that hilarious when you think about it? As I can navigate it, I know when to send notes to the programmers to say, are you guys out of your mind? But my capacity to create something like Path of the Rose is definitely because of my past history. Like, I would not advise it for most people, like, to jump into that field. But yeah, I think all, what I feel like we're all claiming the inherent wisdom that's inside of us. And that wisdom is different for everyone. But I think that's what's showing up more and more. And as the energies are shifting on the planet, as people are waking up, there's a lot of people that won't wake up, and that's okay. That's part of a different thread. Then we just witness and hold the line for those people that are waking up. Like, come on into the fold, come on
Yeah.
into the tribe of those that are aware of where we're going as humanity, and how Magdalene is creating the current for that to happen.
Wow. Thank you so much for, sharing so vulnerably. And I mean, the story is just really fascinating. And I feel it is so inspiring, like specifically, yeah, at that pivotal moment in time. And I know for myself, but also a lot of women that I talk to every single day, how we don't always connect the dots. And there is doubt, so much doubt of like, is this our path? Is this for me? Like, I don't know what's next. And your story just, yeah, reiterates and confirms that there is actually also no way that we can miss what's meant for us. And we are ultimately being led back to our blueprint. So thank you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to share that with with the world, because I feel it's really so needed right now.
Oh, it's magical time. I actually feel like I won the lottery to be on Earth right now.
Mm.
I just feel that the depth of that for me is like, most of us that are on the forerunners. It's not easy to be the front runners
Yeah. No.
of this movement. It's not easy, but it's like we said, I'm going there. You better be sending me down there now. And even then, we didn't really know what we had to go through before we got to so we got to the higher level of we still had lessons to learn, let's just say. And so I just feel so grateful to be here right now, like, to be witnessing. Now I'm crying. So just to be witnessing this shifting of the energies from the patriarchal structure to something more connecting, where the masculine now is respected with like, that both are respected equally, and both are coming, and the men right now are showing up.
Yeah,
Men are showing up,
they are.
men's group at the higher levels. So not only the women being called forward, the men are actually like in this in the mixture of it. And I'm just like so inspired by the men in my life that are just men's groups everywhere of high level people that are connecting into the masculine. Uh, wow, what a time on the planet to be here. It's like, I know. It's like,
Aw.
whoa, it's like fireworks. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be. Thank you very much for having me on the call. I feel like it's such an honor to be here sharing these things with others. So
Well, I am
I'm
really
blessings to
grateful.
everyone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you took the time, to be with us and to share because I mean, you are obviously just a couple of years like ahead, and so you are one that along with others like also paved the way for people like me and the next generation and the next generation who can like take take on the red thread and just like continue. And so it's just like feels like passing the baton, like passing the torch on
Mm.
as we continue this lineage of light. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Such a pleasure.
Yay. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. I hope that there was lots of inspiring moments for you. And as always, stay curious and try to seek out the extraordinary. I'll see you next time.